With Batman missing, how is Catwoman going to be able to help the Resistance battle against the Magistrate? And what happens if Superman goes missing? Those stories today here at Comicstorian, where we take your favorite trade paperbacks and single issues and break them down into digestible bites so that I can read them dramatically back to you. Future State is a 2-month event at DC Comics in which they are trying to tell some future stories of the what-ifs that could happen in the world of DC. These are not completely continuity, but we won't know what's going to stick around until after the event is over. Today we're going to be covering Catwoman issue number 1 and Superman War of the Worlds number 1. The Catwoman book seems to be taking place in the Gotham-centric stuff, while Superman, I guess, is just a fun what happens if Superman goes missing storyline. Let's get into those. I'll see you guys at the end of the video. Future State, Catwoman number 1. The Gotham train station. The guards continue to yell over the loudspeaker, ordering the children to board the trains and leave everything they own behind. Selina stands nearby, watching as the kids board. The captain of the guard stands with Miss Canaris as the children board, and he smiles, explaining that the Magistrate will bring order to Gotham City, and that the White Port Reformatory will help teach the children to work towards the common good of Gotham. Suddenly, a man breaks from the crowd, yelling about how the Magistrate are fascists, and that they wouldn't dare do this if Batman was still alive. The guards move quickly. They beat the man until he falls, blood pooling beneath him, and Selina watches. She raises her hand and she makes a gesture. The crowd around her mirrors the gesture, and they begin to chant. Here, many have lived and lost. In the cold nights and the long days, we follow none. But we will always have each other. And there will always be strays, the children chant. The guards raise their weapons, ordering the children to stop and board the train. And Mrs. Canaris asks the captain if they should board the train, since she needs to include a section on the facilities to her report to Peacekeeper 01. In a short time, the train pulls away from Gotham Station, revealing graffiti that reads, "The Batman lives." Meanwhile, in the snowy hills that surround the train station, Selina preps her suit and bike, while her tech rattles off specs to her. She nods, setting her watch, and marking the timers to the Pullman Bridge. Her other support, Cheshire, moves forward to remind Selina that she'll be on her own on the train, against all of the guards. But Selina reminds them that she has some help on the inside and ignores the other arguments and tells her support to stick to the plan. She revs the engine on her motorcycle and rides into the snowy night. On board the train, Billy whispers to his friend, Skidmark, asking if the young man managed to steal the keycard from the card. "Hand it over. We got about 15 minutes before I'm going to need you to create some sort of distraction," Billy tells his friend. Meanwhile, over at Pullman Bridge, Selina revs the motor, launching herself into the air just as the speeding train passes beneath them. The motorcycle careens into the night air as Selina jumps clear, landing with a magnetic jolt onto the top of the train. Inside of his van, her techie breathes a sigh of relief that the suit did its job. "We got about 12 minutes to get inside before the magnets power down. Otherwise, you're gonna get thrown off," he reminds Selina over the radio. "Gee, thanks, Leo. Regular ray of sunshine you are," Selina gasps as she pulls herself along the roof of the train car, hoping the kids keep her schedule. Inside of the car, Skidmark suddenly shouts to the guard, telling him that he has to pee. The guard waves his weapon, ordering the kid to sit down, and meanwhile, Billy stands up, swiping the card to open the car door. "Okay, Selina, please be there when the door opens," he whispers as the guard turns and begins to shout at him. The guard raises his weapon as the door opens, but a whip flies through the opening, wrapping around his hands. The guard is then yanked off of his feet and pulled through the door to see Selina's smiling face. "Hi, bye!" she waves as the guard goes tumbling into the night. She slips into the car, gathering the others around her. In the control car, the guards note that one of the train cars has been opened. The guard looks down, ordering some extra guards to be sent to car 12 to check it out. When Miss Canaris questions why they have extra personnel in car 12, he explains that 12 and 4 are where they keep the high-risk prisoners. "Would you mind if I had a closer look at the car for my report?" she asks. He pauses for a minute before motioning her through the door, asking that she follow all instructions from the guards. "They're there for your safety," he reminds her. As she moves into car 4, Miss Canaris finds 6 guards sitting and guarding a single bearded man in a high-security cage. Meanwhile, Selina stands before Billy, telling him that she will move through the cars and send the prisoners back to him as she goes. "How are you going to get us off the train without being noticed?" he asks her, but Selina smiles. "We don't need to get off the train at all. Not if we steal it," she tells him. She moves quickly through car 12, flipping and beating her way through the guards easily. She pulls a keycard off of one of them and opens up a special cell and gasps when she sees the prisoner within. "Blip blop," he says simply to her. "Yeah, you're the one that only speaks in sounds, right? Onomatopoeia?" she asks, leaning against the door. She offers to let him out as long as he helps her fight her way through the train. "Then you walk free. No questions asked. We got a deal?" she asks him. The villain holds a thumbs up and Selena releases him, taking the time to pull gear off of one of the thugs and make a makeshift mask, using one of the guards' blood to draw a swirl on it. "You ready?" Selena asks as the guards begin to enter the car. "Whip crash!" Onomatopoeia says as Selena leaps into the guards. Inside of car 4, Miss Canaris asks the guards what the issue is. But he smiles, telling her not to worry about it and that the captain will take care of things. "I'm staying by your side to ensure safety," he tells her. "Oh, how unfortunate for you," she says as she pulls free a knife, stabbing the man in the throat. He gurgles, falling to the ground. Turning back to the prisoner, Miss Canaris removes her wig. "Can you hear me? It's Talia. Bruce," she asks. And inside of the cage, Bruce looks up. Future State Superman, Worlds at War. The wind blows dust across the plains, stirring the birds that rest in the sign for Smallville, Kansas, and above it, a larger sign has been erected. Krypton, home of Superman, it reads. The bus squeaks to a stop outside of the town and the young woman steps down into it. It's not as small as it once was. She walks through the streets marveling at the merchandise that they are selling on the side of the road, the people offering Superman tours, and a woman smiles at her trying to sell her a necklace made of stones from the field where Superman crashed. She keeps moving, passing a prophet who preaches the words of Kal-El. He reads from a paper that young Clark Kent wrote while in high school. Those gathered around him take the man's words as gospel, chanting back to him. The young woman keeps moving. She passes through the hustle and the bustle of the town, moving into the countryside around it, passing a water tower with the words "Superman come back" written on the side of it. And then night has fallen by the time she reaches the field, the place where he fell, the place where he came to us. A small crowd is gathered, sitting on the cool grass. "This is the place, yeah?" the young woman asks, and the leader of the group smiles at her. "This is the place. Pull up some grass," she says with a smile. The young woman sits down, introducing herself as Sadie to the group, and the elderly woman turns, looking at the crowd, thanking them all for coming. "Each of us here tonight was once saved by Superman. We've all come here tonight to remember him, to pay tribute, to hear each other's stories in hopes of knowing him better," she tells them. She looks at the young woman named Alex, asking if she'd like to start. So Alex introduces herself and tells the group that on the day that Superman saved her, her family visited Jerusalem. No one saw the woman with the suicide vest on before it was too late. But when it went off, it wasn't anywhere near them. "We never even saw him," Alex tells the group. Donnie is next. He was a little kid when Magog attacked the bridge that his family was driving on. The car flipped and he was thrown off of it. Superman caught him and finished the fight with young Donnie in his arms. It's funny. I don't remember the fight at all. What I remember is him talking to me afterwards. He had a really calm and quiet voice. Kept me from freaking out while we looked for my dad. I'll never forget that. Donnie finishes with a whisper. Next is Chris, a former traffic reporter. He was in a chopper when a rift opened up in the sky and a massive monster came into the world. Superman arrived in a blur, pushing the monsters back through that rift. The sky closed up with him on the other side, but 2 days later, he was back on the news again like nothing had even happened, Chris says. He questions if that happened again, what would happen next? Because Superman didn't make it back from that. He went on the other side and that was the end. The elderly woman looks around asking if anyone else thinks about where Superman went, and someone raises their hand commenting that they think Superman is just dead. He saved us again, like he always does, but you don't always come back. Rest in peace, the person says to the group. More theories are thrown around the group until Sadie interrupts, telling the group that none of their theories seem right to her, that the group doesn't seem to have any hope. Other theories are tossed out, how Superman transcended and is all around them now, how he sent his essence out into the universe and there are thousands of super beings on other worlds now, or how he simply retired and is now living a life of a farmer, just as he was raised. But Sadie once again shakes her head. She is shocked that some people believe that Superman abandoned them, or that he's a god. She doesn't understand how Smallville has become a mecca of merchandise and religious fever over Clark Kent's homework. He wouldn't want any of this. He's the best of us. Truth, justice, and the American way. That's what he taught us, she tells them. And finally, she reaches down into her backpack and picks it up. I made a mistake coming here, she sighs. And one of the group asks her how Superman saved her as she walks away, and she takes a moment and she turns around. Superman didn't save me. Clark Kent did. And across the galaxy, on Warworld, the gates rise with a creak of rusted metal, and the arena is vast. The gathered crowds cheer in anticipation. A massive creature drags a cage across the arena. "What's your name?" Superman asks his fellow prisoner. And the alien looks at him in confusion. "What's your name?" Superman repeats calmly. "Aisha," the alien whispers. On Mongol's orders, the cage is flung across the arena, smashing open as it slams into a wall. "See him, Warworld, the great champion who once laid low the sire of Mongol. Now old, feeble, powerless, unworthy to wear a chain of Warworld. See what remains of Superman." Mongol bellows and the crowd cheers. Superman pulls himself out of the mud, reaching down, picking up his sword and shield, prepared to fight. "Stay behind me, Aisha." He orders as two massive gladiators begin to charge towards them. "You're going to make it home. We're both going to make it home." And there you have it, Future State Catwoman #1 and Future State Superman War of the Worlds. Hope you guys enjoyed today's coverage of Future State. Don't forget to hit that subscription button, as we are bringing you Future State videos, 1 to 2 of them a week until this event is over. We're going to be covering multiple issues in these videos so that you can be caught up on the Future State event. And then once they're all done, we're going to break them all apart and make full stories for each of these individual things. Hope you guys enjoyed, and don't forget to check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Comicstorian. And don't forget, if you enjoyed Dungeons & Dragons and Red Hood and Arsenal, go to our Comicstorian gaming page, where we are currently doing a campaign that involves those two superheroes. Either way, guys, thank you so much for your support and just continuing to watch our channel. We always appreciate you, and we'll see you next time right here.